Okay, I'm just waiting a while because I know that this record function sometimes clips the beginning of the introduction. So, welcome everybody to this really powerful gap day today. It is hugely significant as we step into a resonance with the ninth wave alongside the support of the San people of South Africa. And I'm going to explain some of that relevance to you in this introduction, but it really is a very powerful, energetic day, the pre wave of which many people started experiencing in different ways on Sunday. Few comments going around Facebook and in the Facebook community. Certainly, Rachel experienced, and a couple of others, as a really massive energy download. For me, I experienced it as grace and clarity and the ability to see into an emotional situation that had been sort of plaguing me in a sense, if you want to put it that way. It's one of the emotional relationship aspects that was mentioned in the Carl Boudreau reference in the 4th of May gathering that we had. So lots has been going on. It's been a very, very intense month, culminating in now. And of course, we step into the timing of this is just amazing because we step into the energies of a new moon tomorrow, and a very, very powerful new moon. And new moons are also about new beginnings. So the whole energy of this moment in time really is about preparation for new beginnings, new starts. We've got somebody who's managed to get in. Hello, Tanya, welcome. Okay, so what do we have that characterizes today? We're looking at a gap day energy, which is the red magnetic dragon. Now, if you actually look at this image here, which is courtesy of Mariella at Mayan Kin, you can actually see that we have the solar seal for the day is the red dragon. We have the beginning of a new wave spell. It's Kin 1, day 1, lunar tone 1. It's all about initiating. So the start of a brand new wave spell is the red dragon. And the higher self helper is the red dragon. So it's a really, really powerful energy for new beginnings. And what the red dragon energy in essence within the Tolkien represents, the archetypal energy that it brings, is that we've been through this before, is unity with source. So it's a perfect day for us to align with the ninth wave, this wave of unity, with the resonance of unity, with the resonance of peace, which is the wave that carries the hologram for the destiny of the human race. Powerful, powerful time today. So it's unity with source. It's about really being in deep trust where we can make choices for ourselves without guarantees. It's like saying, you know, when we make those choices based on our powerful intuitive connection with the source of all that is, we don't need a guarantee in respect of how it's going to turn out. We don't need to wait for confirmation or a guarantee. We can trust and take that action anyway. So it's a very, very powerful reminder at the moment. It's about embracing your receptivity, connecting with the source matrix in which all time exists simultaneously. And that is also key to the whole essence of the ninth wave. It's about receiving, embodying, and transmitting love so that we can strengthen the resonance of that field in order for it to be able to become accessible to those who are not at the level of being able to resonate with it themselves yet. So we stand as the lighthouses and the beacons and those who anchor in and begin to hold that energy for others to access. It's a very powerful time. It's about connecting with your super conscious self. So it's that aspect of you. It's almost even beyond your higher self. Your higher self almost represents a smaller fragment of the grander super conscious that actually connects into the matrix fields of all that is. Your super conscious is so vast. It's and accesses the fields of all knowing. So it's an enormous opportunity to access the knowingness throughout the universal fields. It's about igniting the fire of your inner sun to sustain you. So we've got that fire element that actually comes in. And this little glyph here is what the inner sun is. It's that which sits underneath in the unconscious that fuels us from a deeper space. It's about facing unfinished business. This is the sacred mirror. Being unafraid to see what the sacred mirror of life is actually showing you. And in doing that, we're able to then resolve and release and respond in very different ways without fear. It's about being strongly in your truth and being able to communicate your truth. So it's kind of coming out of hiding. It really is a massive step forward for all of us in this community to step up. And it's also, I mean, this little glyph here as a supporter and as the challenge, it's the challenge and the helper, is the blue monkey. So it's about remembering to have a sense of humor and seeing the cosmic joke in everything at the end of the day, because it really is. You know, we get so serious and so tied up with things down here because of the matrix that we've almost been plugged into and locked into in respect of this earthly environment. And we can have serious sense of humor failures from time to time. And just as well, there are people around to actually remind us to loosen up and, you know, lighten up and not take things so seriously, because it's very, very easy to do that. So see the great cosmic joke and make sure that you don't lose your sense of humor about it all. So the challenges that face us at the moment are dealing with childhood wounds and distorted perceptions of self. It's about perhaps being too serious and about having an increased sensitivity to environmental influences. And the minute that that sensitivity increases, there is that tendency to perhaps become serious, because we just need to look around at what's going on in the world, and who can help but not be serious? It's not a laughing matter. You know, when you've got people being blown to bits in, whether it's in Syria or whether it's in Manchester, no matter where in the world it is. But it's holding the balance and being able to see and to work with everything with lightness and not allowing those events to actually drag us into the fear, the despair, the trauma. It's about being able to hold the space for those that are in trauma to find the light through those circumstances, to find the gift. Hello, Heidi. That's great. I'm glad that you've actually managed to make it to join us. I hope Katie got the email and she's able to connect with us shortly. So there you actually see the characteristics of the day, and this is just all the ones, all of the initiation, is what makes this a very powerful time for the start of what is known as the 64th day of the ninth wave. So I'll explain some of that to you shortly. I did read Carl Kellerman's book, and it's well worthwhile. So I've extracted the nuggets from it for you for this particular process. And then synchronistically, I also got an email 2 days ago from one of our community, Larry, who sent this through, which is just really beautiful. And it's from an astrologer by the name of Elliot Lonsdale, who's a really deep thinker. It's an extract from his book Star Sparks, and Larry was prompted to actually send it through after the initial dragon connection that we had back in, I think it was in March, when that actually started, March or April. But I loved the way that Elliot actually describes this great dragon asleep in a cave. And that cave is actually internal within us. So let's just have a look at this. And it's very poetic, beautifully written. It's the dark deep inside seeking to emerge from a spell, from an enchantment, from a curse. The shadows, the beast, the serpent, the dragon of legend and myth stirring, restlessly, pervasively, bringing forth longings and desires previously suppressed or denied. The great dragon asleep is the secrets and mysteries. It's realms within realms. So much to get back in touch with now. A promise to the children of the future to come alive at the appointed times. And that time is now. The inquiries of karma and of destiny, that which cannot be understood will not conform to convention. And that's interesting because to me that expression says that these great mysteries often don't seek to be understood. They seek to be connected with. They seek to be embodied. They seek to become part of the living mystery that is an aspect of the creation and the evolution of life itself. There will always be mysteries to be uncovered, and we will not understand it all, but perhaps we can rest into a knowing. It is a wildness, a raw primal quality of needing an immense outlet for a huge energy that never had a place here. A desperate drive to let these things emerge, or else feel trapped and stuffed and caught in meaningless retrials of self-avoidance at all costs. So that is that to me really describes the dragon energy in a very, very powerful way. And he goes on to say, it is continued, it is an emotional energy of ferocious intensity. So that would also perhaps explain why some have been going through a lot of deep emotional stuff in the last couple of months, really since we started connecting within this dragon energy was being rebirthed or making itself known again to us, through us. It is so deep, so forbidden, in inverted commas, I'm going to put that, so strange to the modern ways. Called to merge, to tap the depths, to activate the dormant powers for the sake of the whole. And that is, we are being called to merge, to recognize, to be this power, to tap those depths. It's an absolute extraordinary ability to draw forth what was hidden in each and all. A threshold capacity to elicit confidence and strength and new forces in those who are seeking a further unfoldment beyond the known. The world's most fertile energy frequency, yet often postponed or held in reserve, captured by pasts and futures at war with each other. The shadow must be honored if the light is to dawn. All of this is known and sensed with overwhelming force. It will come out. It will come through. And that to me is very heartening. It is very resonant because the whole essence of these evolutionary waves, that we speak about, including the ninth wave, these waves through legend and through the Mayan cosmology are all associated with dragon, with serpents, through Chinese mythology, through all of these amazing myths and legends that have been passed down over eons. It's been encoded into their sacred architecture, into their sacred symbols that serve as reminders for us. So the ninth wave is actually serpent or dragon, making itself reknown, awakening us. It's really beautiful. Anne has just asked if I will send the words to you. Yes, I love the way that this is written. It is truly beautifully descriptive. So I will put it into the email because Larry sent it to me in an email. I'll just extract it and send it to you so that you can hold that and review it. Absolutely. So we've got Rachel making a comment. Yeah. In the chat room. I just loved it because it just describes so well the power that we are faced with embodying. And so often, I think the fear of that power goes back over eons and eons and eons. There's a real fear amongst the old souls among you of enlightenment, of really embodying that. Yeah, there's nothing about destroying the evil dragon. That's exactly it. That's a distortion through the myth that we have been sold in order to prevent us from tapping into and accessing that power. Well said, Rachel. It never sat with me either. But, the extent of this power and the emotional intensity make sense of the reason why we have such a, as Anne says, a bumpy ride sometimes, and why it can be challenging, unfolding all of those layers so that we can be in the immensity, in the mystery, and allow it to express through us. Really significant. Rachel's also noted so many people say the dragons are the reptilians. Yeah, I know. That's absolutely. We mustn't mistake. There are negative reptilian entities for sure. I've seen them. But they are not the dragons. This is the primal dragon that originates from source, not from one of the galaxies that has become a distortion of the manifestation of that power. It's a representation that seeks power over. The ultimate dragon doesn't. It's a sovereign power within. So I've just left this slide in from the previous gathering on the 4th because I love this image and the cosmic tree, you know, and that's what, and the cosmic tree is the divine feminine. And I love this. This was Kai Patches from his actual website. When I'm blocked and don't get my way, life is helping me to see what I want. Rather than feeling victimized, I can grow up and lovingly confront. And that is as true at the moment, and it has been true for the whole of the month. Let's just not forget where we started on the 4th of May and what we've experienced since then. And this is also remembering what Carl Boudreau mentioned, that we are dissolving boundaries to the inner sacred heart, that this time is all about nurturing new growth. It's all about shifts and changes in relationships as well, but in connecting with these emanations from the primal, universal, not galactic, not our galaxy, from universal source in the universal tree of life. And that's where the 9th wave actually emanates from. So we'll connect with that in a moment. So Angeline says, isn't it interesting that many sacred symbols have been distorted to keep us away from connecting with them? Absolutely. We have been so programmed with the meaning that others have attributed to those symbols that we have forgotten, perhaps, how to trust our own intuition. And we've had to peel back the layers so that we can begin to connect with those symbols in their original intended form, if you like, clearing through all of those distortions. Very, very interesting time. And we've been doing that for years. Yeah. Yeah. The powers that be that have been supporting the programming of the matrix within which we exist have actually been connecting with them and understanding them all along. They knew exactly what they were dealing with. But we're waking up. We're waking up. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so that's where we're at from the Tolkien astrologically and all of these influences. Here's the white dragon, just absolutely beautiful. The wings, the scales, the breath. So let's have a look at what the 9th wave is actually about. I don't know if any of you have managed to access the book or who've spent time with it. So I've just taken these nuggets from his book. And Carl Johan Kellerman has spent a lot of time with Mayan elders, with the wisdom keepers of the Mayan tradition. It's a very, very well worthwhile book to read through because it really sheds a new understanding. And while it's a hypothesized cosmology, the way that it is actually put across, which links in the history of world events, to me is a beautiful synthesis, and it makes a great deal of sense because he traces through the attributes of the various waves of creation and evolution and how they have manifest through the sharing of their holograms on the planet. And it's directly matched with the timing of the arrival of each of those evolutionary waves. So at the core, what he says is that there is a cosmic, a universal tree of life. And interestingly, I was trying to find the video for you, and I'd lost the link to it so that I could show you the video in the webcast. So I'm going to have to see if I can find that link and still send it to you. But they've done or created a new model of the birth of the universe, the birth of creation, and how galaxies and stars, etc., actually form, and how our universe evolved from nothing in the beginning. And what they've actually got, and they've simulated it in the laboratory, is what literally looks like a tree. It's these, sort of a plasma form from which everything else emanates. And blow me down if it's not a tree, and Carl describes it as a tree that actually has 6 main axes. So, of course, you guys know what I'm going to say if I say it goes up, down, and out in 3 dimensions, front, back, left, right. What have we got? We've got the diamond. So I looked at that and I went, okay, this is really quite amazing. But from this universal tree, and all of the indigenous cultures, all of the mythologies encode the sacred number 9 into this somewhere. They all talk about the birth of 9 separate worlds, Yggdrasil and the world tree and the 9 worlds that are part and parcel of the universal tree. It's a form and a mythology that actually cascades right throughout the indigenous culture. So in the Mayan cosmology, it is actually said and understood that there are 9 creational waves that emanate from this cosmic tree. And the direct association with these waves is that they are seen as serpents or dragons. And each one of these waves has its own frequency. It undulates and it pulses. With the sinuous wave, or the sinuous type of wave, as a serpent or a dragon. So there's an association throughout all of the cultures with these 9 steps or stages of evolution. Each subsequent wave, which passes through the universe, the entire universe. So it's not just about us as a planet evolving. The entire universe grows and evolves as a consequence of these passing waves which emanate from the tree. So each subsequent wave actually has a frequency which is 20% higher than the previous wave. Really quite fascinating here. And you go back right to the birth, and sort of the original wave would have been sort of the birthing of stars and galaxies, and as you go up the ladders, the birth of unicellular life, and then multicellular life. And I think it's with the emanation of the 4th wave that we actually see the emergence of humanoid and human forms. And the wavelength of that wave correlates with the time span on Earth in which we have actually unearthed evidence of the birthing of human forms on the planet. So it's really, really interesting information. And it indicates, it implies a purposeful universe, that the universe is always moving towards an ultimate destiny and realization of itself through the creations that have become manifest as a consequence of these waves. And this is another concept that runs throughout all of the indigenous cultures, is this purpose of the universe, our purpose for being here. What's one of the universal questions? Why am I here? What's my purpose for being? And this takes us right back to the ultimate function and the purpose of the universe itself. It is our purpose to align with the purpose of the universe in order to realize this grand unfolding destiny. So it's way, way bigger than just us as humans, but wow, what a job. So each of the waves carries information in holograms in support of universal evolution. So you can imagine these like ripples in a pond, these waves actually emanating out from source at regular intervals, designed to allow the evolution through the universe to take hold and to begin to take effect. There are, he says, overlaps and transition periods between waves, and this is significant. I'll show you in a moment. Those periods of overlap and transition mean that we can witness the holograms and the information of previous levels of evolution, previous aspects of the waves, all in play at the same time, and we end up with these interference patterns where we get this transition and overlap. All of these propositions, all of the hypothesis is supported by indigenous creation stories and prophecies. Prophecies are, like again, we go to the Mayan cosmology, but it's repeated in different ways throughout them all. Is that when humanity realizes its destiny, the final manifestation on Earth is the reappearance of the plumed serpent, the dragon, Quetzalcoatl, realizing his destiny through us, if you like. So, significant to note is that each wave has a day, which is the upward peak of the wave, and it's outward creational and evolving. And it has a night, which is internal reflective and very, very often destructive. And this is significant when we have a look at the overlaps of the waves. The wave we are most in resonance with impacts the reality that is actually being created within our environment as a human race. So for us personally, it does that. And for the collective humanity, it actually does that. And that's why we see so much chaos in the world at the moment, because we have overlapping nights of earlier waves, which indicate destruction and reevaluation. And then we have the days, a lot of the days of the new waves. So you've almost got this really big gap between the upward peaks of the new way of being and this really powerful vision that is held in respect of realizing destiny. And then you've got the downward aspect of the earlier waves, which is not quite as evolved, which is causing and creating a lot of chaos. And that could be very, very uncomfortable to live within. I'm not sure about that, Elaine. I think that would need to be looked into in respect of frequencies of number groupings. There may be something linked to that. I would need to investigate it further. So the current waves or holograms that are having the most influence in the collective of the planet at the moment are waves 6 and 7, which are currently in a night cycle, and waves 8 and 9, which are currently they are fluctuating much more quickly. So there's ups and downs, but they are, because the frequency is higher, they're actually cycling at a much more rapid rate. So let's just have a look. So I hope that makes sense to you. These are waves of evolution, waves of creation. I see Max is actually just typing something in the chat room. Okay. So this image is taken from Cosbook. Okay. So let's have a look. So here we have a depiction. Let's just have a look. The sixth wave. The sixth wave has a day and night of 394 years. So it's a very long, slow, low frequency wave. Okay. And at the moment, because it's so long and slow, it actually started, this wave became part of our planetary evolution 3000 BC, round about 3000 BC. And I'll give you an indication on the next slide of what it represents and how it ties in with what we're seeing on the planet, because that's what I really found so interesting. But each day and night of this wave is 394 years, meaning that the wavelength, the total wavelength, I think, is 788. It's double that, so 788 years. So 394 years. So it's a very, very long wave. And if we're in the sleep part of the night part of this wave, that's going to carry on for another couple of years still. So that is still playing out on the planet. The seventh wave has a day and night of 19.7 years. Okay, so it's also, as you can see here, and I know this isn't very clear, but this is 2011. At 2011, the seventh wave was moving into its sleep cycle. Okay, its down night cycle of 19.7 years. So around about 2041, we're going to see this start emerging as part of an upcycle again. So it's postulated that because of the interference and because of the drag effect of this low frequency wave, at the moment, is that we're going to only perhaps begin to see the anchoring of these higher frequency waves being manifest on a more global scale round about 2040, which isn't really that far away in cosmic terms. But that's all the more reason why we have to actually hold the alignments in the meantime. So this wave was already 20 times more higher frequency than the wave before. So now we get to the eighth wave, which is initiated. Oh, and sorry, this the seventh wave started in so back sort of the Renaissance. Lots of things going on at that time. The start of the scientific inquiry, the scientific mind, industrialism, materialism, and so on. The eighth wave actually started in 1999. It has a of 360 days each. So every year almost, give or take 5 days, we move into either a day or a night cycle of the eighth wave. So currently, where are we at the moment? Sort of 2017. We've just come and we're probably heading into the night cycle of the eighth wave, and we'll come out of it in a year's time. So, but that at least is a much, much quicker cycle. And then, of course, you can see the frequency here. It's 20 times faster. Again, you can't even see the peaks in this one because this is the ninth wave that has a day and night each of 18 days. So every 18 days, we have an opportunity to realign every 36 days, we have the opportunity to start a whole new cycle in the ninth wave and to realign with it. So if we're looking at initiating projects that are truly heart-based and in resonance with what the ninth wave represents, we can actually start a little calendar and monitor how we approach our lives in alignment with the frequencies of this wave. And then it becomes even more powerful because we're trying to initiate and put out there and amplify the positive benefits of this particular wave in accordance with those natural cycles. So there you go. And you can start from today because today we actually start with an upward movement on this day one. Isn't that a fantastic idea? What's beautiful about this, and I really love this, was both of these, 1999 and 2011. You always start getting the influence of a wave before it actually starts on the planet. Many people, and this struck me when I looked at this, many people experienced quite a massive awakening in 1998, between 1998 and 1999, where there was a massive opening of the right brain, a huge upsurge in people who were starting to investigate, explore in energy work and starting to move into these realms. So there was a massive surge between 98 and 99, concurrent with the initiation. Well, not necessarily the initiation, but concurrent with this wave actually gaining more of its full strength presence on the planet. So there was a lot happening there. And then this starting on the 9th of March 2011, and Anne will bear me out here, that at that time, Anne and I had been sharing a house down in Wiltshire in the UK, lots of experiences with crop circles and all sorts. So at the beginning of 2011, and it was around about February, we had to move out. We went our sort of separate ways. And we met up a couple of months later. So it must have been round about May, June, because it was actually starting to get warmer weather. So it was round about sort of May, June 2011 that we met up, and we were sitting in her kitchen having lunch, and all of a sudden it hit both of us at the same time. There was this tidal wave, this absolute influx of energy that we almost couldn't hold ourselves upright with the force of the energy that came in, and it struck us both. We managed to get from the kitchen to the lounge, to light a candle, sink onto the settee, pick up a crystal, and sit and go, what is this energy? What is actually happening? And the first thing that I saw, for me, what was most significant is that what I saw were two very tall blue beings, and Anne calls them the tall blues, tall blue beings standing in the corner of the room. And one of them held the earth in his hands. Well, I say his because it felt like they were masculine energies, but held the earth, and the earth was wrapped in a red ribbon with a bow. And the message was simply, it won't be long now before you will see what this has all been about. And not long in cosmic terms, as obviously, it could be a number of years. We're talking 6 years down the track here. But that seeing the initiation or the start of the ninth wave and the date immediately connected me with that experience, which I had actually forgotten about. And a very, very powerful experience. I'll share that with you for what it's worth, because that to me was such a message of hope that no matter what we are going through, no matter what the chaos is that we're actually experiencing, is that we are moving in the right direction. Earth is being wrapped up in a huge red bow, just waiting for us to unwrap the gift and the presence. Inner Earth blue beings. Oh, that's interesting. I wasn't sure if it felt as if they were inner Earth or what. I just saw them. It was just such an amazing experience, and such a powerful message. So that's what was most important to me, because that was all it was, and then it disappeared. It's sort of a couple of minutes, and then everything seemed to settle down. But the energy around it was absolutely profound, really, really profound. So I share that with you for what it's worth. So the ninth wave cycle started on the 9th of March in 2011. Now, what actually happened, which has prevented this from being fully realized, is that at the end of 2011, which you can actually see late in 2011, the seventh wave actually started going into its night cycle. So there was a huge amount of negativity, a huge amount of inertia that was generated, because the bulk of the population is actually still resonating with this and the sixth wave. So that kind of dragged it down, and there weren't enough people at that time resonating with the ninth wave in order to be able to sustain that frequency. So the wave is still there. We're just waiting for more people to actually tap into it. And it's been through lots and lots and lots of cycles. And here we stand. And on this day, this very special gap day, at the beginning of the 64th day of this wave, initiating, supported by the red dragon, supported by the energy of emergence, a perfect, perfect time that has actually been recognized by the indigenous sand people of the planet, enough for them to actually participate and create sacred ceremony in order to support this. So very powerful, important day. So there you have some idea of what these waves are actually all about. Significant with the critical mass. Yes, we haven't reached the critical mass yet. The critical mass was actually sitting down here still in the sixth wave. We're still working on reaching the critical mass, but it is closer to being there now. It is said, there's lots of figures that are actually going around. The one that actually resonates very strongly with me is, it's said that 10% of the population aligned with a particular frequency will tip everything and entrain everything to that level. And 10% is quite a significant number. We're talking, at current levels, almost probably about 750 million individuals. So I'm not sure if critical mass has actually been reached yet. I'll be truly honest, from my perspective, what I'm feeling, what I'm sensing. But I think part of the work that we do is we support the anchoring and the amplification of this in order to move things forward towards the critical mass, so that when this sixth wave hits the next up cycle, we're in a very, very strong position to actually entrain those that are awakening within the mass consciousness, the global consciousness. So let's just have a look at what each of these holograms actually represents, the information that's contained within those waves. So the fifth wave is known as enlightened unity consciousness, and that was And it's the first peoples. So if humanity actually appeared as part of the fourth wave of evolution, the fifth wave of evolution um, represents the birthing of a symbolic relationship with all that is and primal unity consciousness. And that's really, this is really fascinating in respect of how it all ties in, because it is the in the early periods of the fifth wave emerging is where we now start finding all of the symbols etched into rocks, or the petroglyphs, and all of the cave paintings that appeared all over the world at the same time. So it would almost align with this. And that was all of the original peoples, what we may like to think of as the First Nation peoples. And this is where the Sand people come in. That's why they serve as a bridge, because the Sand people are the arguably the oldest surviving original culture from the fifth wave unity consciousness. So that's why they are supporting the building of the bridge into the ninth wave, which is enlightened unity consciousness from vastly expanded space and understanding. So we're bridging that original culture and their connection with all that is in a primal way into a connection with all that is from a deep knowing personal sovereignty kind of way, if you like. The sixth wave, and you'll see how this actually comes in, if you look at this image, left brain dualist consciousness. So the left brain here is in light, the right brain is in dark. And that we would have seen through the rise of imperialist cultures. It aligns with a lot of the rise of the Egyptian dynasties, and possibly then that movement away from the original primal feminine matriarchal based cultures. So you can see that left brain opening and a dualist consciousness. So the right brain was dark. So it's polarization. So it's creating civilizations and cultures, and it was also about a desire for power. There's much, much more with it. These are just keywords. The seventh wave, which is what is having a huge influence at the moment, is endarkened unity consciousness. And it's about globalization, but it's globalization. We can see how this fits in with materialism, atheism, moving away from the monotheistic cultures that they were previously, industrialism, and trends towards equality. But equality, not from the perspective of an enlightened equality. It's almost like that all for one and one for all type of equality. But there was an inequality in that striving towards equality, if that actually makes sense, because you still had carried through from the sixth wave the imperialistic autocrats who were ruling the societies of that particular time. But this did fuel expansiveness. This was when, you've got the guys actually setting out on the ships and Columbus and the explorers and discovering new worlds and all sorts, and the Victorian age with all of the technologies that started emerging, mechanical technology, so that the world became smaller. But it was not fueled by, and it was fueled by science, and a mind that was closed to the idea of God and the divine, as opposed to the enlightened unity consciousness states. So you can see how that is actually still playing out in the world at the moment, how we still have these drives for materialism. It's where the ego took over. So that's why it's called endarkened unity consciousness. So it's all egoic rather than unified and evolved and enlightened. Eighth wave is right brain dualist consciousness. So it might have been right brained and an opening up back to, sort of the intuitive, connecting with the divine, new spirituality, bringing spirituality back into the world. But it was then still, it's been a move away to the ignoring of the left brain. So it's been a lot of favor placed on only one aspect of our intellectual capability and capacity through the right brain this time, and ignoring the intellectual capabilities through the left brain. But this was very much needed. Okay, it was absolutely needed in order to restore the rightful place and restore the feminine and begin to soften the boundaries and the harshness that went along with this in darkened unity consciousness. It's about creativity. It's given us the digital revolution, the ability to interconnect in vastly superior ways with just so there's a gift. There are gifts in every one of these waves. It's just when it goes down into the night, what then happens? What is actually being destroyed as a consequence of this? And how is humanity resonating with the qualities of this wave? What is it manifesting? Is it manifesting the gifts, or is it manifesting the polarized aspect of what that wave brings? The ninth wave, which is the ultimate, which initiated, as I said, in 2011, is about healing. It's about unifying fragmentation. It's about cooperation across societies and cultures, balancing brain hemispheres, using both, being whole-brained. It's about individual sovereignty, and in that is an individual relationship that connects with an intimate knowing of the divine. Not through any organized new spiritual movement, but through an individual relationship. But it is a recognition and a realization of the destiny and an embodiment of peace, the destiny of humankind and the embodiment of peace. It truly is the fuel and the resonance for the new golden age. But can you see how this happens? That we're still dealing with the stuff that has become distorted through the human psyche through these earlier waves that are actually still influencing many, many individuals on the planet. The minute that critical mass is reached, we will have the evolution itself is unstoppable, but we will have an unstoppable capacity to restore the planet to what it is actually, to its original and universally determined destiny, and that includes us as human beings. Does that make sense? To me, it's really an amazing model, and that speaks to my soul. And it did speak to my soul when I was actually reading about it, and I looked at the models of the birth of the universe and the tree, and of course I saw diamond, and I went, yes, okay, now I kind of get it at a deeper level again. So there's so much in this. Charlotte says, best history lesson I've ever had. Yeah, I loved it too. If you're like me, Charlotte, I was never a history buff. I hated it, but this is the kind of history that makes a lot of sense. And to me, the way that Carl Kalleman describes it in his book and the way that he fills in those details is really beautiful. It is a very cohesive model. And that's really where we're at. You know, this whole enlightened unity consciousness of the ninth wave is about cohesion. Yeah, what a journey. Max says, universal history. Truth history, not the lies they teach in schools. Yeah, absolutely. It's a whole new cosmology, and it's beautiful, and it feels aligned. And especially with what we were experiencing on Sunday with the downloads, we're really beginning to experience the energy of the ninth wave in greater and greater with greater and greater intensity. Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly what Rachel's just said. I think the energy surges we've been experiencing are the codes or blueprints being activated, ready to ground this new wave. Yes. And it's bringing us out of that space of I'm not good enough, because you've been here through all of those waves and experienced all of that. So you can imagine now, we've been through all of this with all of these waves through reincarnation and reincarnation. So as old souls, we've really been clearing out all of the dualism and all of the collective angst and patterning that has been generated as a consequence of those evolutionary waves. If we ever doubted that we had a purpose, it really puts things into context. Yeah, and our ancestors. Our ancestors have been through all of that. So we carry all of the genetics. So we've had huge work to do. And this maybe also lends perspective and value to the journey that you have had. It's really amazing and beautiful. So without further ado, I mean, look at the time already. Okay. I hope you're enjoying this though. Um, I loved this picture because there was something just translucent, just almost there and almost not there with the beauty of this white rose. And I call it the white rose of grace. Those of you who have been with me for a number of years will know that my connection with white roses kind of began around about 2014. And it has always symbolized supreme and higher love and the energy of grace. So um, there is this dropped in. I thought, now isn't this also amazing? This dropped in. Bunny sent just a little snippet to me, an extract from Lauren Gorgo's newsletter. And that is, she describes this current time, Lauren Gorgo, from, it started with the equinox, I think, as there being three pivotal points. So between then and June. And that a pivotal point in May was the square full moon, which was 2 weeks ago. And she says that the information she got is there is a deepening of grace beginning with the renewal energies of the May Scorpio full moon. And I went, oh, now isn't that amazing? Because that was what I felt on Sunday, just in this 2 week period. So here she's talking about grace. She says, and it's preparation. That was the second point after the equinox. The third one is we are preparing for receiving the fires of the Holy Spirit, the fire breathing dragon, depends on which way you want to read it, in June. So we're really heading into quite a powerful time. And if you bear in mind that the ninth wave, it starts now on an upcycle, in another 36 days, it initiates a new upcycle. So in June, just after, well, I think it's just after the equinox. It will be just after the equinox, a couple of days after, we begin a whole new cycle of the ninth wave again in its upward motion. So really powerful times. The beauty of grace. So Rachel says, I put a white rose on Neil's coffin. For me, it's always represented the love that's always there. Absolutely. And grace is love. Grace is the love of the divine source and us being in a space of receiving for that grace. So yeah, it is an absolute gift of purity, the purity of that love. So finally, this was a light code that was actually posted up in our Diamond Light community. It was created by one of our community members called Kerry Mansell, and her words were, she says, I just keep seeing this code, and I'm not a brilliant artist, but I really just wanted to post it up. And that was probably, I think, last year sometime that she did that. And this really popped into mind as being a supportive code for the journey at the moment. I just love the way she's got it. It's all these interconnected diamonds. It's the heart, because at the moment we're really connecting with the resonance of the heart energy of the ninth wave, and the diamond that sits right in the center of the heart, which represents the source of the heart love, the source of that wave, the diamond, the tree of life at the center of the universe that gives rise to everything. So really beautiful. Yeah, six diamonds. I also counted them, and I also noticed that. And six is a number that's associated with love. So really beautiful, and I have to thank Kerry for sharing that with us on the community page. So you guys get to experience it too. There's just a lovely feeling of acknowledgement, of love, of heartfelt energy in there. And the San Sacred Dance ceremony is about igniting the fires of the one heart. So I go back to hear what Lauren Gorgo was saying, receiving the fires of the Holy Spirit and deepening of grace. And we receive grace when we've got an open, receptive, and yielding heart. So when we're aligned with the ninth wave, we're in a better position to be receptive of that energy. So just a beautiful flow, loads of synchronicities that have landed around this particular event, around this time, around this ceremony, and around this particular process. And Elaine's got, yeah, Elaine's noted there, she got connects with Fire the Grid. And that was in 2007. So that was before the ninth wave. But there could have been some overlap in respect of the precursors to the wave being felt in 2007 before the wave actually uh, hit, landed, began to influence us in 2011. So it would be interesting to have a look at the dates because there's always an overlap before that wave becomes manifest, also on the planet, connecting hearts and the world in preparation for, yeah, yeah. So huge synergies in respect of all of this, and it there's an honoring, and I think Elaine, thank you for bringing that up because it requires, I think, an honoring of all that has gone before us, whether that's now, whether it's in the last few years, whether it's through eons or lifetimes, whether it's our ancestors, all that has come before us is bringing us up to this convergence point. So it's an honoring for all of those who've listened to their intuition, who have just actually followed their higher guidance, because it's all been part of the support that brings us into now. So that's all I'm going to waffle on about. Does anybody else have any comments or questions? I'm just going to have a quick drink of water, and then we'll go into the process. So I really want to get this out as quickly as possible once we finished for those that couldn't join live, because I know they'll be waiting for it. So we've got a few comments coming into the chat room. We're being asked to step up big time. Yes, yes, and yes. And I have so much more that I actually want to share on that. So many insights that have actually dropped in over the last few days. It's going to become part, I think, of the new offering with the program for the John Burgos show. And that's a pity. You might have to actually then get the process later. I just really needed to go through those explanations before we went into the process. It just felt really important that there is a context and an understanding, if you like, so that you can connect with your own knowing. So thank you so much for being here, and we will miss you. Okay, everybody, if you are ready then, what I would like to ask you to do, as always, is to simply rest into, surrender into the space that you are in right now, to rest into the surface of whatever you are sitting or lying on, the chair, the couch, the cushion. Allow your body to sink heavily into that space. And begin by focusing on your breathing as you take long, slow, deep breaths in and out. Resting, releasing tension and stress with the rhythm of your breathing, following the flow of your breath, the life force that you are gifted with, flowing in and out. And as you rest into the space and relax into your breathing, you create around you your diamond field, extending and aligning, following the nerves in your spine, anchoring down at the base of your spine, the tip of the sacrum. Connecting to your earth star below and your soul star above. You simply breathe your diamond into being so that it extends out in all directions And then expand your breathing so that it encompasses your diamond. And those of you that are familiar with the jitterbugging process, use your breathing to initiate that pumping action as you breathe greater pranic source energy into the depths of your being. For those of you not familiar with that, just simply allow your diamond to breathe with you. For as it does, it becomes an integral aspect of the very essence of your being, pulsing and flowing with your breath. And in an instant, you are now transported in your diamond field onto a vast desert plain, the plains of the Kalahari at the tip of Africa, the ancestral home of the San Kalahari Bushmen, on one of the most ancient lands on the planet. This is where this culture has lived and practiced their sacred ceremonies for thousands and thousands of years. They remain with us as a living embodiment of the gifts of unity consciousness, for they exist in unity with all of life. They hunt only what is needed. They live in pure harmony with the rest of the living world, with plants, with all of life. And their very existence as an ancient culture on our planet currently is under threat. And yet they share their gifts with us as we stand at this moment, prepared to align and harmonize with an advanced unification wave of purpose and of evolution. And you stand on the sand and you gaze up at the sky. And in the darkness of the night, the backdrop is a velvety, deep, deep indigo, against which shine millions upon millions of stars in a sky the likes of which you have very seldom observed. For the darkness is complete around you, and across the center of the sky is the Milky Way. And from where you stand, your vision is aligned with the center of the Milky Way. And emanating from the center is a faint glowing light, a wave that has made its way from the center of the universe. Just be in this space for this time. Rest into the primal essence and energy of the earth, the sand beneath your feet. Feel the fundamental heartbeat of the planet. Even while you rest your eyes and gaze upon the stars. And you look at the diamond field that has taken shape and solidified around you. And in your diamond field you see what appears to be the reflections of all, of the stars, the millions of systems, and far distant galaxies and planets, and cosmic wonders reflected in the facets of your diamond. And you feel that oneness, that connectedness with the universe above your head as you stand connected with the earth beneath your feet. And then you realize as you look further that those stars and galaxies are not just mere reflections of the heaven above, that they are emanating from within the essence of your very being, that the cells, the atoms, all of the components that make up your physical body were born and birthed and have traveled over many thousands of years through planetary systems, through the galaxies, through the universe, that you are the universe, that you are reflecting this light out from the depths of your being and your physical body. The boundaries that you have known as your physical being begin to soften. As the barriers between you and the universe are released and begin to dissolve. And you notice that around you now have appeared a number of beings welcoming you into their world, their space. These are the San Bushmen, the original ancient peoples, holding the memory and the wisdom of that upon the planet, and they welcome you into their world. And grouping themselves around you, they guide you towards a flickering firelight, just a short walk away. And as you draw closer, closer to the firelight, you actually see that they are smaller fires arranged within a circle on the sand. And you are invited into the center of the circle. For this sacred ceremony is an honoring of you and your willingness to receive and harmonize with the ninth wave for the evolution, the bridging of unity consciousness from what the San have held for thousands of years into a new way of being for humanity. And in the sand, in the center of the circle, is drawn out the light code, those three interconnected diamonds, a heart and a diamond in the center. And you're invited to stand, take up your place within the center of this code, within the center of the fire, the circle of fire. And you stand as an embodiment of whirring, swirling, spiraling galaxies in the center of the circle, and each of the sand take their place on the outside of the fire circle. And they slowly begin their sacred trance dance, through which portals are opened to invite in and help to anchor and harmonize with a new level of unity consciousness. and you feel the beat of their feet upon the earth as they begin to move around in a circle enclosing you and the fire. You hear the drums, the rattles, and the voices. As you watch the bodies moving, turning, abandoning all inhibition in their sacred worship of the one divine source of all of life. They rise and undulate around the circle like a great serpent. And slowly and gradually, the dance becomes faster and faster. And the music speeds up, the drums increase their beat, the rattles become more intense. And as you witness this sacred dance taking place around you, it's as if you're in a time capsule. And the air around you begins to fragment as you see it as ripples through time. You begin to see the waves from the universal source descending, the vortex that is created by this sacred dance around the fire. Faster and faster they move. Your being begins to dissolve. As your essence expands through the vortex and begins to merge with the universe itself. All is contained within this sacred circle. And faster, the dancers move until they become a blur of movement. And all you can see is an undulation of light created by their movements. And that undulation of light becomes the form of a dragon, a white dragon, flowing with streamers. Spend a while in the center of this sacred circle as your heart expands in the presence of this wave and within this portal. It expands to contain the whole of the universe and explore the dragon wave that is being created. Especially for you. And the streamers of light, this dragon being brought into form through the sacred dance, ignite the fires that are surrounding you even more so that the flames actually reach higher and higher. And this dragon of light This dragon that represents the delivery of enlightened unity consciousness merges with the flames of the fire, dancing higher and higher, the flames of resurrection. And when you look again, the flames have turned a deep blue and violet. And you are held in place within this circle with this rapidly moving spiral of light, and the fire, these deep blue flames, begin to move towards you in the center of this sacred space. And as they touch the skin on your toes, your body begins to tingle, to recognize the power and the love that is the destiny of humankind, the qualities of peace. In each of the blue flames is a miniature white dragon. Be aware of the power, the essence, and the energy as your body begins to absorb and welcome the frequency of this new wave manifest through the white dragon, supported in a portal created by the ancient holders of enlightened unity consciousness. Notice which qualities emerge for you as these flames and dragons enmesh and enfold within your body, flowing through the inner planets and stars that are the makeup of who you are. You stand as a representative of the evolution of the entire universe. Hold this space. Watch, listen, and be guided. Allow the white dragon and these blue flames to seek out the places within your inner universe that require further healing, that require the restoration of love and peace, the breaking down of barriers between you and the ultimate power of the universal source. They rise up your legs, through your bones, infusing every aspect of your being. Informing every aspect of your being and awakening the codes and the blueprints for your role and your purpose in the ultimate manifestation of the destiny of humankind. Take a look within your being as you become aware of the codes that are enlivened, activated, brought into conscious awareness through this alignment, and through it all, you are held with the utmost of love. Allow the wave manifest through the flames and the dragon to show you where, in any discordant relationships, the insight is required in order to deepen your ability to extend compassion. Allow yourself to see and to know where the judgments may still exist, judgments of self or others. And through it all, your heart continues expanding, flowing out and breathing in from the universe herself. Your body moves and flows with the rhythmic energy of the flames and the dragons, spurred on by the sinuous dance that is still taking place around you, creating and holding this vortex for your unique and sacred purpose. The dragons reach up through your spinal cord and into your brain, flowing from left to right and right to left, initiating greater levels and degrees of interconnectivity. Giving you the ability to see and perceive earthly challenges and solutions in an instant, expanding your deepest knowing of the mysteries of all. The dragon that has lain sleeping within you in a cave is awakened fully. Be aware of how you feel and connect with the power that this dragon represents. And the white dragons, along with the blue flames, now merge, so that you become infused with a cohesive single white dragon, encased within a pillar of blue light, sacred blue fire, peace. And the core of your diamond, all those 8 diamonds running from your earth star to your soul star, are spinning at vast speed in harmony with the vortex that has been created. And below your feet, beneath the earth star, is the bud of a beautiful crystalline white rose, almost translucent. And as your energy is anchored through the earth star, this beautiful, pure white dragon, representing the 9th wave, as it touches the earth, that rose unfolds beneath your feet, holding you and emanating the softest and gentlest of love in a space of ultimate purity. And your dragon becomes almost translucent within you and through you. As that wave expands now outwards through the earth, you experience yourself as the pulsing of that wave, for you are the universe, sharing the evolutionary imperative and purpose with all who are connected within your universe. So you gift it back to the indigenous ancient peoples holding the space for you. And as you gift it out into the world, you notice that there are circles and sacred fires all around you. That connecting each of these sacred circles is a grid or a stream of light. And the pulses from each one of you emanate, creating an amplification of that wave like the ripples on a pond, building in strength and intensity until it flows out from this group and through your diamonds out around the planet. And you see the wave being propagated as an enormous planetary wide, beautiful white dragon encircling the entire globe. Beneath your feet, the light code that was drawn upon the sand is glowing with the light being emitted from the rose beneath your feet. Heart blueprints, peace blueprints, blueprints for new unity consciousness, for truth, trust, and enlightenment. And in this moment, as you prepare to leave this sacred space, there is just one instruction to ask, and that is what the next step is for you in order to support the fulfillment of humankind's destiny is. What is your next contribution to this fulfillment? Allow yourself to receive the instruction with clarity, with love. And the dancing around the circle now begins to slow. And you become the living vortex for the manifestation of this wave upon the planet in order to reach critical mass. The indigenous peoples, these ancient peoples have done and made their special contribution. But they have transferred their wisdom and their knowledge to you through the fire and the vortex that was created. They have opened up and assisted with the sanctification of your space, of your being, in order to receive this wave. And they stand around the circle, and they honor and bow before you as the music slows, as the fire dies back. You stand as a beacon of brilliant light in the middle of this vast desert, just the same as you are a beacon of light in the vastness of the human collective matrix, trapped within their own darkness. And a San Elder reaches into the circle to take your hand and guide you out. And you look around, and like glow tubes in the desert, you see each and every one doing the same. Your core column is alive like a nuclear reactor with the power of the dragon energy of this ninth wave. Your mind is alive, your brain fueled and active by this energy. Your actions inspired and guided by the divine. Give thanks for the support of the San people for this sacred ceremony that they have supported you with. As you reach out now and move towards the other pillars of light, you bow in respect to one another, and you now form a circle of brilliant pillars. Surrounding you is a brilliant circle of the indigenous cultures, holding the energy from the past moving into the future. And you now turn outwards within the circle so that you can move around and face each one of these San elders and contributors in turn, and honor their commitment to hold that essence over all of these thousands of years, as you give your commitment to honor and carry that unity consciousness forward into its new, evolved form. Look each one in the eye and feel the heart-to-heart communication and gratitude for each one and from each one. And you take a deep breath in now. As you slowly allow your bodily form to reconstruct, holding that light secure through your core column. And you bring that light back into the 3D matrix, into the world in which you are physically sitting or lying. Be aware of the emanations around you, of the glow, of the peace, of the gifts of this ninth wave of evolution. of the enormity of the task that you have undertaken by being alive, willing and present at this time. Breathe deeply and allow yourself to slowly now return within this space to waking consciousness. And when you're ready, take a deep breath in and open your eyes. And welcome back. How are you doing? Okay, first comment we've got, wow, what a trip after in the fire circle. Do you know that's what the Bushmen actually do. They go into trance just through movement. So they don't take psychedelics, but they literally create that altered state of consciousness through the music and the movement and their dance. If one looks at some of the ceremonies that they actually create, it is truly amazing. So they open up those gateways and doorways into um, that enlightened consciousness, and they do it with total trust. Elaine just said, was just thinking I must have been given mushrooms. Yeah, it's probably a similar effect because it's very shamanic, the way that they work. In fact, I think just so much of the ancient shame technology comes from those First Nation cultures and the understanding of how that can actually facilitate. So they don't take drugs. It's an absolute natural high that they do experience through their trance dancing. It's amazing. Max going smoking pipe too, yeah. So we got so deep and beautiful. I agree. It was a trip. I had tears in my eyes thanking them as one took my hand. Yeah. Experience was grace-filled, heartfelt, and trance-like. Thank you. Um, well done, Julie. Your voice is amazing. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. That's wonderful. And it was grace-filled. It was deep and powerful. And again, it's going to be interesting to see what unfolds through this because the Sand People were actually holding sacred ceremony at this time down in Cape Town. So they would have been creating that field. So we've just tapped into it in our way in order to honor and amplify and add to the ceremony that they were creating. Feels very important to have the natural high, very beautiful, feel very blessed. I think that is the key is connecting with the beauty and it feels very different to the last session that we did, which was clearing the roots with the black rose. This feels much more, I don't even know how to, much more translucent. You've got that translucent. I literally could see it as almost a very clear, see-through crystalline rose opening up under our feet. It's like being held in a completely different space purification. Yeah, that was the essence that I was getting. There's a real purity to this because that's the essence of the ninth wave. Absolutely. Okay, everybody. I know it's actually been quite a long session again, and I so appreciate you for staying with me through this. It's not just a quick in and out. It never is. Let's just see. We've got a lovely comment here I'd like to share. So Rachel says that was amazing. I can't believe how much I was seeing before you said anything. I love when that happens. Lots of energy pulses through all my chakras, so it's all descending onto the land as white octahedrons. The sand people couldn't see us, only as a brilliant energy of light. I heard that we were their ancestors from the future. They had been waiting for our return. I saw us all go into the circle and then kneel down on the earth. Wow. Rachel, that's so powerful and beautiful. The sand people created the vibration so that we could do this. Wow, so much. Wow, Rachel, that is amazing. Thank you. So, everybody, yeah, that's really stunning. Very, oh, I've got goosebumps now. I'm having one of those cold shivers. So we got thank you again. That was great. Lots of heat and fire. I love the circle of dancing. I go to lots of trance dances, so I could really connect with that. Rachel, thank you for sharing. Elaine says, yes, not a chemical high, our natural internal high from connecting to source. Yes, absolutely. So we've got just a few more comments. Just loved it. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, everybody, that's just absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you all. My heart is so expanded. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being with me and us. And I thank you again as well. From the expansiveness of my heart, not from the depths of my heart, from the expansiveness in the ignited fire of the one heart, I hold you in gratitude and in love. And please stay in touch, Star Sisters and Star Beings. Yep, as Elena says, thank you, all Star Sisters and brothers. Thank you for sharing in this experience and for anchoring in. Remember that 18 days, I'll try and see if I can send you the link when I send the email note out, is that every 36 days from here on, so you have 18 days now where you are in a process of initiation and creativity in alignment with that wave. You will then go through 18 days of a requirement to be quiet to allow some integration to take place. So watch those cycles, monitor those cycles, and then 18 days again, you start hitting another up cycle. I don't think it's a gap day then. That's why this was so significant today. But I'll send you the calendar so that you can chart where you are on that wave. I love you all. I honor you all. Yeah, it's all the nines. Absolutely. Lots of nines. And thank you so much for being a part of this journey and being a part of this process. And those of you who are new to this community, if this is your first experience of it, please share the experience with others so that we can draw more people in, because the diamond in and of itself amplifies and serves as an amplifier of the fields. The more that we have actually joining in, the greater that expanded logarithmic amplitude effect is to ensure that the ninth wave becomes embedded. So it's a real honoring. Thank you all. We've got pleasure and honor. Thank you. Honored to be part of the Diamond community. Yes. And I'm honored to have you as part of the Diamond community too. So without further ado, thank you. Love you all, and I look forward to hearing from you further. With much, much, much love, ninth wave resonance, all meant to be. Yeah, and lots of hugs. Thank you.